being offered on eBay by PoliticalUSA.com, who claim it was obtained by a friend who worked for the Lazio campaign. The thesis, which was removed from eBay at the senator's request, was locked away by Wellesley College when Bill Clinton became president because they didn't want to embarrass Mrs. Clinton. Was there anything to hide? We're joined in Los Angeles tonight by Joe Giardello from PoliticalUSA.com, who put the thesis on eBay, and from Washington, Democratic attorney, strategist. I have a whole chapter in an upcoming book about him, Vic Camber. Thank you both for being with us. All right, first of all, you were asking $50,000, Joe, for this?
No, we originally put it up on the air for $1,000, and it quickly climbed to a much higher number than we certainly believed that it deserved. And later we were able to determine that those bids were not real.
Okay, I have a copy. $20,000, anybody? I've had it for a long time, so I'm just kidding, of course. But so I have a copy. What's most interesting about all this, first of all, I find it interesting that Wellesley College announced a new rule for student papers when Bill Clinton became president, and the college declared that it would seal the thesis of any graduates who are either president or first lady, only in their case.
I'm sure they have a lot of those in the past, and they'll have more in the future that are presidents and first ladies. It was certainly specifically geared to help the Clintons. There's no question about that.
And Hillary's office asked you to take this down from eBay, and we have confirmed that with eBay today.
Well, no, they didn't ask us specifically. They went directly to eBay, while Hillary was saying to the New York Post that she didn't care about it, didn't matter to her. This was a non-issue to her.
Well, what's most amazing about this, Mr. Alinsky came out with his 1971 rules for radicals, and a lot of these radical points of view appeared in the thesis just 2 years prior, among which, quote, ethical standards must be elastic to stretch with the times. Vic, that sounds like you saying just because there's semen unaddressed doesn't mean they had sex.
Sean, first of all, let's get your facts correct. The thesis was sealed during her term as First Lady.
Why?
It was
Why
released
doesn't she want
in
us to
January.
read this, Vic?
It was. Wait a second. It was released in January of this year when she left the White House. I think that it's very normal policy for any school to make private. I mean, people's records
She doesn't
are private.
want it sold. She never said for them to release. What is in this paper that she doesn't want us to see?
There's nothing.
Why?
Nothing except that it was 32 years ago written. The fact is, you could go read it at Wellesley College in the library anytime you want.
I have my own copy.
Let's get some other facts out here. As you just pointed out, Vic, you can go read it at Wellesley. Anybody can go see it. And by the way, so what? So she wrote a dissertation
about
on Alinsky.
Right.
So what? Does that mean that she agreed?
Organizer.
I mean, Joe, you know what a dissertation is. It doesn't mean, or a thesis, doesn't mean you agree with everything that the subject of the dissertation says.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And so this idea of trying to link her to Alinsky, and so what, even if she has some views that Alinsky had, so what?
Oh, well, yeah, to a certain extent, but she honored Alinsky. She loved the guy. I mean, she wrote the paper for a reason. She picked him for a reason. And if you look at these principles that Alinsky put forth, they were the Clintons. I mean, it was everything that this guy said. The Clintons did.
Vic, let's
I mean,
look
they
at some of the
believed
things,
in what he said.
Let me get Vic in here. Vic, let's look at some of the things Saul Alinsky did. He organized poor minorities in Chicago. He was an advocate of community organizing. He was against the very same kind of big government conservatives say they're against, and taught people to fend for themselves, to do for themselves,
Alan,
to vote.
I'm very familiar with Saul Alinsky. I mean, he's been a father in many ways of the whole labor movement in this country. I mean, yes, he was a leftist, and in those days when he was growing up, a lot of people were far to the left, but his politics, his ideas, his radical ideas were ideas that helped people in this country, the people on the left outside.
He formed a coalition between the Meatpackers Union and the Catholic Church, and he helped get concessions for workers in the meatpacking industry. He fought racial hiring practices from certain corporations. I mean, you want to take issue with those things? There's
no doubt.
As you just said, the irony is, if she had written about Saul Alinsky or Julius Caesar or Mahatma Gandhi, it's a thesis, somebody's thesis on the person or whatever the subject matter was.
So, Joe, what's the big deal, Joe?
In a time of radicals, Saul Alinsky outdid just about all of them. There's no question about that. And he had very strong beliefs, and
Yes.
we didn't put it on eBay to question Mrs. Clinton or to question her beliefs.
This
to us was simply an historical document that we thought should be out there.
Hang on, Joe.
No, you want to make money. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm a Republican.
Yeah, and you want to make money off of her.
We have to take a break. We'll come back. He was a radical leftist and the architect of the politics of personal destruction, and I'll prove it. I'll prove it when we get back. But before we break, we want to know what you think. Should Hillary be judged today by views that she expressed in her old college thesis? You can log on to foxnews.com. Look for the Hannity and Colmes box. It's on the right-hand side. You click on it. You'll see a viewer vote line. We'll let you know at the end of the show how everyone voted. Also, in our lineup tonight, why is Hustler Magazine's Larry Flynt offering $10 million to Jenna Bush? And later, should school officials encourage angry teens to work out their aggression with a fist fight as an alternative? Okay, that fair and balanced debate straight ahead as well. Stay with us.
I'm Alan Colmes. Later on in the show, why did one principal encourage students to get into a fist fight? Back to our debate. Joe, do you believe everything you believed at the age of 21?
Of course not. Of course not.
But it seems to me there's an effort here to bind Hillary to whatever she might have said how many years ago and use that against her.
I don't think this document says anything about Senator Hillary Clinton or former First Lady Hillary Clinton. This document says something about a 35-year-old college student, or a college student 35 years ago. What other people decide to read into that or make out of that, that's not my place to say, and that's not why we put it up on the internet.
You're just a capitalist looking to make money off the Clintons like so many others have done. It's not, and the reason it was taken off eBay is because eBay has an issue about intellectual property rights, and if something can't be proven to belong to them, or the seller in this case, then you don't have the right to sell it.
There's Saul Alinsky's principles in practice, is that the facts don't matter.
Well,
and you're trying to guess my motives for why we did something.
No, Joe, I'd like to know the truth of where you got it or where the Lazio people got it. Lazio denies that he got it. You claim he got it from Lazio. Who's lying here, you or Lazio? And secondly, if anybody looks at Hillary Clinton's record, I'm embarrassed to say she was president of the Republican Club.
She worked for Goldwater in 1964. Joe, where did you get it? Joe, where did you get it, Joe?
We got it from someone within the Lazio campaign.
The Lazio campaign
frankly,
says
it's not surprising to me that people within the Lazio campaign didn't know what was going on.
Lazio says it's not true. Is the Lazio campaign lying?
It's not surprising to me that people in that campaign didn't know what was going on. That was sort of the way the campaign was.
Well, they've denied it.
They didn't know. Maybe certain people you talked to didn't know. It came in 2 days before the election. They decided they couldn't do anything with it. A guy in the campaign said, "Here, do something with it." We've had it sitting around for a couple months.
Sean's going to make the case that Alinsky practiced the politics of personal destruction.
That's definitely.
Does that have anything to do? Is that to prove somehow that Hillary Clinton then buys in to whatever Alinsky said or did, even if it happens to be true?
Well, that's certainly not why we put it on eBay, but that's probably the reason that Hillary Clinton wanted these records sealed at Wesley College.
No, I think she just didn't want you to make money off of them.
Hey, Vic, first of all, you can borrow my copy anytime you like. I'll send you a copy if you like. You know, first, here we have Wellesley College creates new rules as it relates to the Clintons to hide this document.
No.
Vic, let me finish. So they changed the rules when Bill Clinton becomes president so nobody can read it. Her office is the one that requested to be pulled from eBay. So I've done a little bit of research. Let me just, some of Alinsky's opinions that she referred to just the year before the rules for radicals appeared. Let me just read a couple and then you can respond. Ethical standards must be elastic to stretch with the times. Alasky. Power is the very essence, the dynamo of life. It is the power of the heart pumping blood and sustaining life in the body, was the view. Does this not sound like the Clintons? Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. And then pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. Is that not describing the war room mentality, the political destruction of Ken Starr and the war declared against him?
First of all,
this is the radical view she accepts.
Sean, first of all, that same woman you just read who wrote that paper and talked about Alinsky's views, not her views, was somebody who voted for Barry Goldwater. Would you like me to cite his views, which would be embarrassing, which would be embarrassing to a number of Democrats that thought that they voted for somebody who could have possibly voted for Barry Goldwater? Secondly, your facts are wrong, Sean. Wellesley College did not change the rules for Mrs. Clinton. Wait. Name the first lady they had before that they changed that didn't have those same rules.
Excuse me.
What first lady or president?
Wellesley suddenly announced a new rule for student newspapers.
For anybody who becomes first lady or president.
Hey, Wellesley, hey, Vic, you may learn something about Wellesley. 4 student papers. The college declared it would seal the thesis of any graduates who were either president or first lady.
Right,
they did
that's not a new rule for them. That's a rule.
What did they bring it in for?
That's my point.
Listen, it was
unreleased when she ended up being first lady. It became available.
But you can't make
Clinton,
a copy, Vic, and take it out of there because she won't let that happen, nor will she let people buy it on eBay. And when you read Alinsky's opinions and what she supports, it is radical Marxism.
Wait a second, Sean. You don't know she supports it. She wrote a thesis on it. By the way, what was her grade on the thesis? I'd be curious. Did she get an A?
She got an A.
It's exactly what we watched for
Obviously a brilliant paper.
Let me just be clear. Everything you write the thesis is not everything you believe. That's the whole point. Thank you both very much. Joe and Victor, thanks very much. Coming up next, Larry Flynt versus the...
Ahead tonight.